Welcome to week 18 of my Mallorca training vlog. This week didn't get off to the greatest of starts. Now, while I did my Monday night spinning session, the Tuesday night spinning session was cancelled due to the instructor being ill. Now, I could have gone out in the garage and done a Zwift session, but I think I was just a bit lazy and I gave it a miss. So to make up for things, on Wednesday I went out and did my Hayling Island run, which is 40 kilometres. But I did try to do it a fair bit harder than I normally do. So I thought to myself, right, I will ride the first 28 kilometres in under an hour. So I set my virtual partner on the Garmin to 28 kilometres and I basically raced that. And long story short, I rode from here down to Hayling Island and then back to the roundabout at a place called Havant in 54 minutes, beating the Garmin virtual partner by 6 minutes. So I was really pleased with that. And then after that I just rode home and used it as a bit of a warm down because that did take quite a lot out of me. A couple of weeks ago I had a comment from Adribov1 saying that he thought that the saddle height on my Trek perhaps looked a little bit low. Now this is very interesting because I'd been having similar thoughts myself. Now the backstory with the Trek is that I bought it 4 years ago and I had a professional bike fit done and the bike was put together according to that bike fit. I've never changed the saddle height all the time that I've had it. And up until I started riding it again in May, I'd always thought that the saddle height was correct. But like I say, recently, since I've been riding it, I thought, oh no, this doesn't feel right, particularly since I've changed shoes and I've changed cleat positions. So I chatted with Adribov1 and he said that even though I had the bike fit, it's more than possible that the saddle had moved down or that something had changed physically with me. And this made perfect sense. So on Saturday I decided to take the plunge and raise the saddle height by about ½ centimetre. Now I had to do this very carefully because the Trek is a carbon frame and I don't have a torque wrench. And the danger is not tightening up the seat bolt tight enough and then the saddle will just slip again, and tightening it up too tight and damaging the frame. So what I did a very low-tech approach and I counted the turns of the Allen key exactly. So I undid it by exactly 2 turns, moved the saddle up a bit and then I tightened it up exactly by 2 turns again. Now this isn't very scientific, but I think it's going to put me somewhere roughly in the ballpark of the correct torque. So the big question is, how did the bike feel? Like I say, I've had the bike 4 years and I've never once changed the saddle height, so it did feel a little unusual and took a little bit of getting used to. But after about 20 minutes, half an hour, it started to feel a lot more natural. I could see that my legs were parallel to the top tube on the bike and I could feel that I was actually pulling up a bit more effectively on the pedals. And when I'd finished the ride, I could feel it in my thighs as opposed to before when I felt it a bit more in my knees. Now that should have been a big warning sign to me in the first place, because if you feel that you've been using your knees when you've been cycling, that kind of suggests that the saddle height is wrong. Once I'd changed the saddle height, I decided to go out and do a 60 kilometre ride. And this was also very interesting because I found the last 10 kilometres incredibly hard, and I don't think it was down to the new position on the bike. Basically the route I chose yesterday was relatively flat and like I say, I found the last 10 kilometres very hard indeed. Now if I compare that to one of my other longer routes, the Old Winchester Hill route, the last 20 kilometres are really tough. There's a fairly long hill and then once you're at the top of the hill it's fairly undulating as well. So I always put my fatigue down to the fact that I just climbed a massive hill and I was on a very tough course. But yesterday I was on a fairly easy route, yet I still felt really tired. So that kind of suggests to me that it's not so much the climbs that are wearing me out, it's just that I need to work a lot more than I first thought on my fitness. So what's the plan for next week? Well, I've got my spinning sessions booked in for Monday and Tuesday, and that's all fine and dandy. But then unfortunately for me, it starts to get a bit busy work-wise, so I'll have to play it by ear, but hopefully I'll get some longer road rides in towards the end of the week. So are you training for a particular cycling event? If you are, please tell me all about it in the comments below. If you found this film useful, please like and share. And if you'd like to get the most out of your cycling, please consider subscribing for my regular weekly uploads. Thanks for watching.